For my next piece in the tour, I wanted to look at the painting Unplugged. I painted it in 2016 while I was working at Le Lavoie. Le Lavoie is a artist factory where a bunch of artists come together and they create inside the same space. It's just a huge workshop with a lot of different tools and very talented people. UnPlug is 100 centimeters by 100 centimeters. The media is acrylic on canvas, and it belongs to the series Glamour Macabre. And Glamour Macabre was a series of paintings that I painted. This is when I started painting in the color gray. And Glamour Macabre covers topics in transitions between the synthetic and the real, the virtual and the real, and societal conceptions of beauty, and also the hidden monster within beauty and the monster within. My fascination with the grayscale is rooted in my breast experience, connected to what I've talked about in a former video, and it's also connected to the rise of the internet and living in our daily lives between the virtual and the real, the synthetic and the real, and looking at how those transitions will affect one another. I feel like transitional periods in our lives are the most exciting, most intense moments, and I feel like they're ripe with untapped potential. You can draw so much inspiration from them. For a very, very long time in my life, I wanted to only live in these transitional states or in these transitional periods. I was traveling everywhere. I was constantly meeting new people, going to new events, things like this, in order to get as much inspiration as I could from as many different sources as I could. And then I started thinking about if these transitional periods could be a space, could make up a universe, what would these universes look like? I started thinking about when somebody turns a page, what exists between walking up the stairs from one stair to the next stair, what happens if we slow down time and we look at everything that exists right there. Because I was so fascinated with transitional periods, I started thinking about, wow, I would love to live there. What would it be like? What would I do? And that's what inspired UnPlug. Within many of the paintings inside the series Glamour Macabre, you'll find this mythical dark spirit presence appear. And the spiritual presence is who I call Lala Drona. And I eventually took over this identity, or perhaps she took over me, but this is for another video altogether. Lala Drona as a spiritual presence came from the concepts of God and this idea of God creating humans in its image. Or perhaps it was humans who created God in their image in order to perhaps create some sort of ideal, and an ideal for them to work towards, for a goal of some sorts. And this is perhaps why we use technology, and this is why we strive towards this godlike status, this godlike identity, this godlike experience, and this godlike dominion over the universe. And about 12 years ago, in the same vein, I created this goddess-like presence, which could be this ideal for myself, could be this artist presence or mentor, this artist protector model for me to strive towards and one day hopefully become, or every day approach closer and closer to her. So in the painting Unplug, you'll find the presence come from the shadows. She's living in this transitional space and has now embodied it, and she lives between two worlds and has become a sort of gatekeeper between these two universes, depicted in this piece in the differences in brushstrokes and texture between the two sides of the piece. The grayscale serves to heighten that sense of in-between. And having made a home for herself within this transitional space, she has somehow become some sort of gatekeeper between one universe and the other. And with this comes a lot of responsibility. She decides when the flow of connections begin and when the flow of connections finish. And with this responsibility and this choice to live in the unknown and live in transition and to decide to pioneer an entire universe, this results in loneliness. This results in solitude. Thank you for listening to Retrospectives and for discovering a little bit more about Unplugged, painted by me, Lala Drona. Until next time, peace, love, and art.